These were the angels that descended to earth, corrupted humanity, similar to the narrative. It is the narrative of the Book of Enoch, right? Angels married human women, leading to the birth of Nephilim, giant offspring, and they did forbidding teaching and genetic experiments and everything else. And it's the cause of humanity's corruption, right? And our fall, right? So we've got plenty of episodes. Hit the EnigmaCast archives, go in there, pull it up. We're not talking about the Watchers because I won't stop talking about it if we get into it, and we roll with it. So the Book of Jubilees goes into good detail on that. And the Book of Jubilees is one of the things I found fascinating when I read this, is the fact that they say the following: that God created time on day one and put angels over protecting our timeline, and that our timeline is sacred to us, right? And that we are on a divine calendar, and no matter what we do, that divine calendar will happen. So point A the alpha eventually will go to the omega, right? And so
what he's saying is, from a physics perspective, we're on a deterministic timeline.
Exactly. And that's
interesting to me.
It is. And also too, there is great conspiracy theories out there about some secret supercomputer. I can't remember the name of it. Operation Looking Glass, or what it was, where we've had AI for a while, and the satanic cult were trying to find ways to, because they know the fight is coming, to avoid it. And the computer kept always leading it back to the final end. There's nothing they could do.
There's no avoidance of that particular nexus point in time, right?
Period. Exactly right.
That's interesting, because I had a long time ago, a friend and I went down this weird rabbit hole about physics and time, right? So there's really, our perception of time moving forward, right? Our physics says that's just our perception. You can go backwards and forwards. It's kind of not that's not a hard and fast rule. It's more of a guideline, right? But if you think about it from a fourth dimensional perspective or whatever, I don't know, if you're outside of time, right? To me, it looks like a big tumbleweed, right? Like if you look at a human's timeline, it looks like a big tumbleweed, right? Because each of those decisions that you've made can lead down a different path, right? Like instead of having pancakes for breakfast one morning, you had bacon, right? And because it was too greasy, when you got to the office, you had to go to the bathroom immediately, and that completely shifted that particular timeline, right? So you have all these little branches and things coming off, but eventually all those branches lead to one conclusion.
Yeah.
Right? You in the ground.
Yeah, I simplify it like this, man. Jumping out of an airplane at 30,000 feet, you can do backflips, whirly whirls, left, rights, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you're hitting the ground, right? So yeah, so it's like that. Another thing too that goes into how we're completely different than every other creature on this planet. Human beings are the only ones that plan. Now, let me clarify that right there. Yes, wolves will coordinate. Orcas will coordinate, right? But they don't think about Tuesday, Wednesday, and they definitely don't think about vacation 4 months from now, right?
Look at it this way: we have the most complex planning.
Yeah, it's us
on the planet, right?
Yep. And so I thought that was interesting, but also the Book of Jubilees proves a theory that I've been hitting on for a while about how our calendar is completely wrong. Now, what the Book of Jubilees really is also talking about is a 49-year cycle. It's considered a jubilee. A 50-year cycle is considered a jubilee, right? And there was all this stuff in there about every 7 years, blow a horn, go back. This is all, about 7,000 years ago, whenever this was written, right?
Yeah.
But they also talk about the pagan moon calendar, which we are on right now. And I've said this for the last 3 or 4 months. I've been talking about this. God put us on what is called a solar calendar. Our calendar is supposed to be based upon the sun. The current calendar that the entire world uses right now is the lunar cycle calendar, right? Now, how it's supposed to be broken down originally is the solar calendar is supposed to be 364 days with one day of reverence or resurrection day, divided into 4 seasons of 91 days each, with a 13-month, 28-day calendar, and again with 1 day of observation. Make 365. Now, this makes perfect sense because a woman's cycle is every 28 days, right? So a woman's cycle used to be completely in sync with the moon.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.